Tracy, thanks for joining us this morning. Governor made a declaration last week, added 23 new counties to drought. What does that mean?
Well, the previous drought declaration status was as of August of last year, and back then we had significant rains in central Kansas and southeast Kansas, which prompted us to recommend to the governor to take a number of counties out of drought status of any kind, be virtually drought free. Well, in the span of 6 months or 8 months, we are now finding that conditions are worsening, and so the drought response team met last week, and we received input from the state climatologist and looked at our climatological data and our stream flow data, and we recommended to him that he basically put the whole state back under some sort of a drought declaration. We have now 23 additional counties in drought emergency as a result of that, and the rest of the state is either in a watch or a warning. And emergency is obviously the most dire condition, and what that enables us to do is provide emergency water supplies from our federal reservoirs and state fishing lakes for livestock producers and others that have emergency water supply need. But most notably, it's livestock producers that may need to fill tanks from an alternate source, and we make those lakes and reservoirs available to them. So that's basically, now you're going to see a new map that has all 105 counties under some sort of a drought declaration. And you might have noticed through declarations coming out of USDA that the Secretary of Agriculture at the federal level has also increased the number of drought declarations or counties eligible for drought disaster assistance through USDA, and I think we're up to 83 counties under that program. And so between the two, we try to make sure we have our bases covered. The one's more agriculturally oriented, and then we try to make sure that we're getting the word out to folks that the drought's not over. I think there's been a bit of a conception that with the rains that we received over the late summer last year, coupled with, somewhat of a snowy winter, that the drought's over. And we wanted to tell them that, conditions are not anywhere close to being out of the woods in terms of drought. And in fact, our average stream flow for the first part of the 2014, virtually statewide, is much below normal. And what that means is it causes our reservoir conditions to not recover. We'd like to see full reservoirs when we start get into the summer months, and we've got only 8 reservoirs of our 24 federal reservoirs in Kansas that are at or above normal conservation pool. So stream flow has a direct impact on our ability to store water to get through the summer months. Looking forward, the National Weather Service and NOAA is predicting continued drought for much of the state, particularly western and the south central part of the state. So we're trying to get people aware and prepared for what looks to be a dry summer.
Perfect. Well, when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the governor's 50-year water plan and Tracy being put in charge of that. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
Tracy, thanks for staying with us this morning. Sure. I believe it was in November the governor came out and wanted a 50-year water plan and put you in charge of coming up with that plan. Walk us through, start to where we are now.
Well, you're correct. The governor at his water conference last fall did issue a call to action for really all of us Kansans to develop a vision for 50-year plan for our future water supply. He tagged my agency as well as the Department of Agriculture to lead that effort, along with help from all the other water-related agencies, but primarily on the front end to design and come up with a plan on how we were going to do that. Secretary McClaskey and her team and members of my staff and we've kind of formed the Water Vision team to start that effort. We spent the last several months since then doing a lot of outreach, over 150 different meetings around the state, I think the number's up to over 9,000 people we had an opportunity to talk to in those meetings, getting input on what they want to see their 50-year water supply look like. We are now in the process of kind of stopping that upfront input and drafting a first draft of what that vision might contain. Going to be a lot of the visions, obviously, as you might expect, going to ensure that we have a long-term supply of water to meet our basic needs and the ability to grow economically. So that's kind of the broader, what I'm anticipating the big picture to say, but how you get there is the trick. And so we're focused on the Ogallala Aquifer and our system of reservoirs primarily, but we have a lot of other water issues that are deserving of attention in this 50-year water plan, including water quality, recreation, infrastructure needs, and they all tie together. A lot of times we have water, plenty of water in places, but we don't have the distribution in place. And so when you start looking at infrastructure needs, it's not all about just the physical presence of water, but it's where is it and who needs it. And so we're working on a lot of different strategy ideas to put into the draft right now that will contain some of these ideas. So in July, starting on July 7th, the whole week of July 7th, we're going to have 12 public meetings across the state where we're going to basically unveil an initial draft. After that, we will refine that draft with input from those public meetings and another round of meetings to interest groups and organizations getting their reaction to the first draft. We will refine that and then have a draft that we'll present to the governor and to Kansas at the next Governor's Water Conference, which is next November.
Right. Long-term plan, and we just got a few seconds here. A long-term plan that you're looking at right now, is it going to basically boil down to is conservation or cutting back? Is there going to be a need for both of those?
All of the above. What we've received in input so far have four major categories: new sources of supply, conservation, water management, and new crops and new technologies that will help us manage our water resources. So we're kind of designing our vision document under those four major categories.